This is a place.
This is the place?
This is a place. We want to talk about. This is a place.
Thank you for listening to This is a Place podcast. My name is Brandon. I'm joined by a man who, if everyone is as nice as him, country hospitality will get an awful name.
I like that one. That's funny.
You not know what I'm quoting?
Mm-mm.
Hoosiers.
Oh, really? Did you watch it?
Yes, I watched it.
Oh.
Have you seen
heavens.
the movie?
Oh, yeah, when he's standing up at the stairs with the teacher. Okay. I was going to say, what is that from?
The big news is I finally watched Hoosiers.
Yeah, has your life changed forever?
It was all right.
Just all right?
I mean,
You gotta watch it another 2 times. Well, congrats to you, Brandon. Now what do I have to do to fulfill my side of the bargain?
I don't know. I should have made a bargain. I don't think we did.
I thought you had a movie or something I needed to watch. Oh, I'm supposed to watch Harry Potter.
Okay, yeah.
How's your voice, dude?
So my voice is still struggling a bit. The good news is here we are because the Cougars won.
12 is the lucky number or the unlucky number. Is it the unlucky number for Utah or the lucky number for BYU? Big 12, Pac-12, broke the 12-game, 12-year streak. So 12 was the number or the sponsor number on Sesame Street this week or last week. Oh my goodness, what's behind you, Matt? We're just going to jump right in and say that Matt's on our episode. What are you sitting on?
What an intro. Oh, yeah, I didn't even notice. I'm sitting on a Utah blanket.
Have you been a Utah fan this whole time?
Yeah, I have been. You know, it used to really affect me when the Utes would lose, kind of ruin my day, my night. I'd spend all Saturday stressed about the game, so I decided to just stop caring, and I've been much happier. So
You didn't even watch the game then?
no, I watched Cruella Saturday night, and my wife was falling asleep in bed, and I thought she was asleep, and she sat up and she goes, "Did BYU play Utah tonight?" So no, didn't watch the game. I love football. I love sports, but I just have to convince myself that I don't care. The nice thing is I'm a huge hockey fan. See, here's my thing. In college football, if you lose 1 or 2 games straight, maybe even 3, it's like your season's done. Your hopes for everything is ruined. And all right, next season we'll look better. In hockey, you lose 1, 2, or 3 games. It doesn't matter. The point of a regular season in hockey is to make it to the playoffs. And if you can do that, then it's a whole nother story. Anything can happen in the playoffs. So yeah, hockey's not nearly as stressful for me.
So that is a frustrating aspect of college football. But I do agree. I'm a hockey fan as well. I play hockey like you do, Matt, but not at the level that you do. But somebody posted on my friend's Facebook post the other day when he was chanting about Utah playing BYU, and she writes, 30 days until hockey season starts. And he goes, what's a hockey? And I wrote, I believe it's a dance that you put your hand in and out, and then you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. So
that's about right. But I mean, speaking of watching sports, I watched, I know you're a Denver Broncos fan. Who was it? The Giants they played?
Yes.
Yeah. So when the Giants scored at the end of the game, I wanted to text you and be like, suck it, Nate. But I'm not I love watching football, but I don't follow it closely really. But I'm very involved in hockey, and I constantly stay caught up on like all the news.
Yeah, I used to be a little bit more involved in the pro sports and even college sports and watching Sports Center. I still pay attention, but not as close as I used to because there's a lot of reasons why, but it's just the biggest reason it's hard to get over the fact that I have zero control of the outcome of any game. Even though I feel like Brandon and I put BYU over the top on Saturday. That's why my voice is mashed right now. So if I didn't cheer as loud as I did, it's a good chance BYU would have lost that game. It was crowded. I mean, I think it was the first sellout they've had in like 12 years, complete sellout.
In the rivalry game or just at BYU?
Just BYU, the stadium as a whole, like it even showed, like when you look at the scores, the box score, whatever on ESPN at the bottom, it will kind of show you for any sporting event, it will show you like the capacity of the crowd, and BYU had 100%.
Well, that's enough gloating about BYU. It was a wonderful game. We're happy. Last thing I'll say, it's been, as of today, 746 days since Utah's beat BYU.
I want to put a counter on my Facebook page every day. just every day post how many days. Because it's going to be, what is it going to end up being? We don't play for another 3 years.
We had a pretty action-packed weekend, in fact, which is the reason that we have Matt on, because he accompanied us to what we did the night before the BYU game in going to a concert up in Ogden at the Twilight Concert Series.
That is correct.
This is when I'm supposed to say something.
Yeah, so this is where you're now formally introduced into the episode. Matt, our most requested guest, and by requested, I mean requesting to be on.
He requested.
Yeah, messing with Mormons, you can suck it. I've been on here more than you guys. Yeah, I'm happy to be on. We had a good time Friday. Some good laughs, some highs and some lows. We definitely had some lows. It was a lot happened that night. A lot went on. And I think we have some pretty funny stories, I think.
Yeah. Were the highs when we sat on the high level of the front runner?
Yeah, that was probably the highest high. And then, I don't want to ruin it or spoil it. I think we can unfold this like a great story, but there were some lows and some revelations that came during the concert that
some lessons learned
put us in panic mode a little bit, but it was still worth it. It was a lot of fun.
It could have been a lot worse, but
we went and saw Death Cab for Cutie, alternative rock band. I guess, is that how you'd classify them?
Yeah, what would they be?
Emo.
Indie. Yeah, indie rock. That's probably the best way to describe it for me.
But we started the night, gave Matt a heart attack as he called us. We all met up at the front runner location in Murray, the Murray Central Station. And he called me and was like, "Hey, you guys are close, right?" I'm like, "I'm at home, man." Because he had sent us the train times and kind of organized it. I'll first should say that Matt organized the whole taking of the front runner. The whole transportation was all Matt.
That was Matt's responsibility. Is that what you're saying?
So
we're throwing you not under the bus, under the front runner.
Yeah. Well, like the night before, it's just who I am. People that know me know I do this. I do it at work. But like the day before, I'm planning it all out. I'm sending screenshots. And it was like very non-descriptive screenshot. All it was 4 times in like a square. And it wasn't very clear. And so the night before, I'm saying, all right, we'll leave it this time. We'll get there at this time. And we can go to the music or go to a concert. And Brandon said something like, "Oh, I was confused by that. All right, we'll meet at this time." Or maybe he didn't even confirm it, but just like, "Oh, I was confused by that." So Friday, I get to the front runner. I call him, and it just sounds silent, like in the background. And it does not sound like he's driving at all. So that's what really got me. And
you know how hard it is for Nate to be quiet, too. So I had to be quiet the whole time.
And honestly, like at first I was like, he's messing with me. But then Brandon played it so well. He's like, "Oh, I thought we were leaving at this time, which is the time we were supposed to arrive." And I was like, "No, dude, like we're going to be late now." And honestly, for like a second, I was really bummed out. And then he's like, "Oh, I'm just kidding. I'm in the parking lot right now." So it was, he totally got me. At first I was like, "No, he's messing with me," but he stuck to it. And I really thought he was not there. And
so luckily going to the concert and getting on front runner went without a hitch.
Oh yeah. And well, there's an important detail you mentioned, which will come back later in the night. We left the Murray station. So just keep that in your back pocket. We'll come back around to that.
We left the Murray station. Yeah. We got to see the apocalypse in Farmington. Was it Farmington?
Yeah.
Or Kaysville?
In the wetlands.
In the wetlands.
Also, this may be news to you. We
In the
have
wetlands.
wetlands in Utah.
Yeah, it's right next to the rainforest in
Yeah,
Utah.
apparently lightning struck, and it did not look good. Well, actually, it looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked pretty cool.
We got to pass that as the fire was a raging.
There was something that happened in between that I have to mention though. As Brandon knows, I'm a jersey collector. I collect hockey jerseys, and we got on the train at like 5:37, and at 6 o'clock, the St. Louis Blues, who are my favorite team, were revealing a jersey that they're going to be wearing this year. And so I was constantly checking my phone for the first half hour. So that took place, and I was happy that Frontrunner has Wi-Fi because I do not use data, but I was happy to check that and see the jersey, which I'm very happy, and I've already bought it.
Yeah. My complaint is that the Wi-Fi that wasn't constant for me on my phone for some reason. It kept cutting out and hard to log back in.
That was pretty much the ride up.
Yeah, then we get to Ogden, where we had to walk about a mile or so to get to the Ogden Amphitheater, and just kind of followed everybody else that was doing the same thing, because the tickets to the concert doubled as tickets for Frontrunner, which was nice.
Right.
I'd never been to anything at the Ogden Amphitheater before. It was not my favorite venue, as you couldn't really see very well, but
Yeah, I agree. I think the amphitheater, if you had a more intimate concert there, like less people, like half the crowd, it might have been a better venue. But there was, gosh, I don't know how many people there. Would you say 5,000 maybe? But so you couldn't, poor Brandon couldn't really see anything going on. So really you just went to a concert to hear. But
Yeah,
when you-
Brandon and I are about the same height.
Huh.
And when we jump up, the first time I jumped as high as I could, and I was shocked at how much I really was missing. Basically, all we could see was the drummer, who was on like risers.
But actually, we did have a chance to where we could have moved up, but we decided not to, because we got into the venue and we were walking around, just kind of checking things out. We went and spun one of those wheels with prizes. Nate got some candy. I got a pen, but what we really wanted was a hacky sack. And so Matt stepped up third, and he won Nate his hacky sack.
Thanks, Matt. It's been a whole weekend of fun.
I'm glad I could provide that fun for you.
There was a bit of a rainstorm while we were waiting around for the show to start. And so we quickly ran under the poles mixed with trees that kind of provided a shelter to us. But it was a pretty big downpour for a while, and a lot of people ran back. And so that would have been our chance to get up close to the stage, maybe a little bit closer to the stage.
If we would have had ponchos with us, we would have had a great spot.
Not only was it a downpour, but I was wearing a white t-shirt. I know you probably have little kids listening, so I won't say any more, but you know, some people got a show that night. I was wearing my Dusty Slay NASCAR shirt. Have a few people check it out. One lady commented on it to try to convince me she knew who he was, because he was number 35, which made me laugh even harder because he's not a NASCAR driver, he's a comedian. But it was fun, just fun interactions with people. And
Yeah, I think the consensus was we thought that girl was trying to flirt with one of us.
Which girl?
The one that was checking out Matt's t-shirt and trying to act like she knew who it was.
Right.
She was a little
friendly.
friendly. It was just kind of awkward.
Right.
Maybe we're just not used to interacting with strangers like we used to be out in settings like this since it's been so long.
We just didn't really go there thinking we're going to make friends.
Yeah, we already had all the friends we needed.
But maybe she knew who we were from the podcast, and we just disappointed one of our fans.
she was okay. This is the last thing I'll say about the girl. She kept saying like she was trying to be funny, and it wasn't bad. And she kept saying like I'm sarcastic, and I stared at her with a blank face and said, "What's that?" But she was trying to be funny, and she was friendly. And then like lightning struck, and she's like, "Did you feel that energy from the lightning?" And she was so serious that I was like, "Okay, she's weird." Like, and then she's like, I'm kidding, guys, I'm kidding. And then she walked off, and I was like, that was the weirdest thing.
It was one of those I'm kidding, but if you are into it, I'm not kidding.
Exactly. Of like, but really, do you guys like have crystals or anything? You feel that energy?
So after that, the show started pretty quickly, and yeah, it was good. Nate had a really good time. He's a big Death Cab fan.
I was on the verge of tears. I was so happy. Either that or my back was killing me. I couldn't tell which one it was.
Right.
The one thing I thought was interesting, the opening song they started with.
It wasn't very upbeat, which
Very
for me, it
mellow.
wasn't a problem. Yeah, but it was a very mellow song to start out with. You know, I looked at their playlist on, or their set list, sorry, to see what songs they'd be playing. And I noticed that I checked the few previous nights, and I noticed they played the same songs, but they changed up the order every single time.
Right.
And the night before us, they played "I Will Possess Your Heart" as the opening song, which to me is like a great intro song. It's got that little jam session at the beginning.
And people know it too.
And people
Right.
know it. It's gonna get people pumped. But this one they played, which was a good song. I really liked the song. I honestly can't remember what it is, but I knew it when they played it, and I really liked it. But it was a very mellow song to come out and play to start their show.
I'd say the way that our dynamic is Matt knows quite a bit of Death Cab. I'm a pretty casual fan. There's one album I really like, and I know the hits. And Nate knew 2, 3 songs.
Three, well, 4 if you count the cover.
And I would say that at the concert, when you get these Twilight concerts, they're usually pretty cheap. They're usually to attract a lot of people, maybe that aren't even concert goers. And so a band like Death Cab, they're like, oh yeah, I know a couple Death Cab songs. I'll go to that.
Like you recognize the name, right?
Yeah. So I think I would say the majority of people at the concert fit into the Nate category, that they knew "I Will Follow You Into the Dark" and one other song, and that was enough for them to venture out. A lot of people there were in the same boat, just kind of there for the live music, the experience, and got really excited when they played those 2 songs that they knew.
But they're also really excited to visit with their friends, which, I mean, I'm guilty too. I kept turning and talking to you, but like for a second to tell you something funny I saw, or to tell you I thought I saw Philip Seymour Hoffman come back from the dead. But those were just like quick things, people all around us. And also, we mentioned we were at the very back. In the back, a lot of people were chatting the whole time, and that's kind of a concert mood killer for me. There was one point where it got really quiet. I can't remember if they were still playing a song, because I don't think nobody was clapping, but it got really quiet, and I turned to Brendan, and I loudly said, "So there I was with barbecue sauce all over my titties." I'm pretty sure the guy in front of us was chuckling a bit, had no idea what I was talking about, and that's just a video I've seen on YouTube, which I thought was funny, so I said it.
Yeah, you're a little trickster, Matt. You like to do those types of things. You also had a funny calculator joke.
Constantly you see people's phones go up in front of you, and you can't see crap on their screen. You know you're taking a video and you can't see anything, and you're not going to be able to hear it. So at one point I had Brandon step behind me and start recording, and I put my phone up like I was going to take a picture, but I had my calculator up instead, and I just started pushing buttons. And I thought that was hilarious. And even if I'm the only person that thought it was funny, I got a kick out of it. Actually, my mom and sister thought it was funny.
If it brings you enjoyment, it was enough.
So if you don't mind, I think we've covered the concert basically. Although it seemed a little negative, I think we all had a really good time. So when we got to the concert, they have signs up that say, the front runner, the last train to leave for Provo is at 10:08. And we're like, that's fine. We're not going to Provo. This is the last trains to Salt Lake are at 11:08 and 12:08. We're like, that's fine. That's where we're going. So there's about 5 songs left. And then it hit me. This is something we talked about at the beginning of the episode. We parked at the Murray station, and I realized Murray is further than Salt Lake City. And so our train would be getting off a few stops too soon. Like we'd be kicked off of this train.
Technically 1 stop, but 5 miles.
Actually, yeah, that's true. It is just 1 stop, but it's a huge stretch. So yeah, I look at Brandon and I'm like, Brandon, we're parked at the Murray station. These trains are going to the Salt Lake station. So we panicked a bit and tried to think of all the people we could have called, which I told my family this. My sister's like, why didn't you call me?
Well, first, again, this was all Matt's planning, if I didn't say that already.
I'll accept that. That's fine. Because
No,
it was
we
since,
all
like,
passed the
10:08.
sign, though. We all passed the sign that said last train to Provo, 10:08. No big deal. We're not going to Provo. None of us thought that Salt Lake.
Well,
ended
back
at Salt
the
Lake.
horse up. You guys promised me like a little kid that we would be getting on that 10:08 train to begin with. You guys remember that?
Did we? I do
Yeah.
honestly don't
You
remember.
made
No,
a
I
soft.
said-
You made
I
a
said
soft
we might be
promise that
able
we
to-
might. Yeah,
we might.
that we might. Yeah, that we weren't going to stay for the encore was kind of the. Like you teased me like a little kid that we could go home early.
Were you thinking that the whole time? So you start checking your watch and you're like, hey, guys, got an hour to travel.
But to be 100% honest with you, 100% honest, I'm like, I had to sit through 20 songs that I didn't know. And I knew they were going to play something I knew for the encore. So I did. And to be 100% honest, what was the song name? What is it called? Follow You Into the Dark
Yeah.
was probably my favorite. Anyways, and it was the first encore song. That was my favorite that they did the whole night. So it was worth it
It was worth it.
sticking around.
We traveled all that distance. We had to leave
And
the hits.
they followed up with Waterfalls, Brandon's favorite song in the podcast, one of the podcast's favorite songs. So worth it.
There was
Yeah.
one more thing that happened at the concert that I just remembered, but it's Nate's story to tell. Somebody thought they recognized Nate, but it wasn't who they thought he was. Or
Yeah,
he's
some
not
guy-
who they thought it was.
I'm standing to the right of both Brandon and Matt. This guy comes and he like hits me in the shoulder, like, and I kind of look like, what's going on? And the guy goes, well, close enough, but not quite. That's what he said, something like that. And I'm like, I wanted to say, yeah, I'm not Jesus, and then have him walk off, but he thought I was somebody else. Be honest with you, though, the guy, he kind of looked familiar, so I wonder if maybe I do know him, but you know, all people look the same sometimes.
Yeah, but even though we missed the train, we were good. We got out of the concert probably about 10, 20-ish or so. I mean, enough that we were well had missed the train at that point. At the end of it all, we just decided to take an Uber from our stop in Salt Lake to just get us to Murray, which wasn't that bad. And like you said, it was only like 5 miles, but we weren't going to personally travel that 5 miles on foot or bike.
Even though there are roads left in both of our shoes.
That was a good one.
I was just trying to jam.
That was a
them
good
away.
one. Yeah, Death Cab quote.
I didn't get it. Sorry, guys.
So there are roads left in both of our shoes. We could have walked it.
Yeah, soul meets body. Good one.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's the song I used my calculator for. Am I missing anything, or are we on the train now going home?
No, you're missing something because we decided to tour
Okay.
Ogden and look for some food.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we're like, yeah, let's
Oh,
get
we
some
had
food.
some help.
And we had some
We had
help.
some
That
pedestrian
sent us
help.
in the wrong direction.
That lady
Just-
was full of crap, man. She lied to us. She said, go to Wasatch Boulevard. And we walked to Wasatch
And-
Boulevard.
If
There
it
was
were an
nothing.
hour earlier, yes, we would have many choices. But
Yeah, we missed
everything was
Five
closed.
Guys by a couple minutes.
Subway, Five Guys, Costa Vida.
The movie theater. And we were going to go get some pizza. But both Nate and I were thinking, is it worth it to possibly miss our next train? And decided against it. So we ended up just waiting for a couple minutes with all of our close friends who also made an incorrect calculation of time and drop-off location.
And which sounds like from the announcement they kept making that this isn't the first time they've done this, and we're not the first people to make this mistake, because it sounds like people have had this problem before.
All right, so are we on the train now going home?
Now we're on the train.
On the train bound for nowhere.
Because one of my favorite parts of the night, just maybe I was really tired. And you know how things are especially funny when you're really tired.
Yes.
Brandon decided to show us the pictures that he took at the concert, which was just a bunch of blurry lights. And I laughed so hard for a while. because I thought of all the people that went home and took pictures and finally opened them up to look, and it was just a bunch of blurry lights. Like they couldn't see crap. So I laughed pretty hard at that for a while.
Luckily, my picture taking skills are a smidge better than Brandon's. So, but we still need to post a couple of Brandon's pictures to let people know
that I was there. And we forgot to take a picture even at the concert. So,
whoops.
Man, we're really bad at the social.
Dude, we could have had our friend take a picture for us, our new friend.
Yeah, I was just thinking that we should have.
And we were joking the whole time about people taking pictures of themselves, like to prove that they went to the concert. We're like, we didn't stop to think that we need to do that because we run a podcast where we have to show pictures that we actually did it. We all err at different points. But that's fine.
Interesting. Oh, I'm like going through my pictures right now, and there's a white picture. I'm like, what?
That's all right.
But that's when. Did you remember when my flash was starting to go off? So I had to hide it.
Oh yeah.
That's probably it.
But yeah, so then we took a sleepy ride back to Salt Lake, got to Salt Lake and got an Uber.
What a ride.
2 fun moments on the ride was one, Brandon got a bloody nose
Oh, I did.
on the way home.
Oh, yeah.
And then
I was happy to wear a mask at that point.
And then funny moment number 2 is that Brandon's wife called and Matt answered the phone and pretended to be Brandon for a good, you had it going for what 30, 45 seconds?
And I didn't even try to sound like Brandon. She sounded very tired. Like Maddie sounded like she was asleep. And I was like, hello? She's like, are you almost home? Yeah. And I just didn't say anything, but yeah. Then I handed the phone off to Brandon.
Yeah, I was a little nervous. I mean, so
Wait, I do have one more thing. I think I have one more thing. Well, we can make this quick. While we're at the concert, Brandon mentioned that you and Maddie went on your date to see Death Cab, I think before you were married or just right after. Was it before?
Right before we were married.
And that was a good memory for you. And I was thinking about, they came out with Narrow Stairs, came out in 2008. And that's when I started dating Lindsay. And so I loved that album. And I Will Possess Your Heart was like my song to her. And so it brought back those good feelings of, being in high school and as cheesy as it sounds, falling in love.
I will say, Matt, even though you led us astray and the planning of the transportation lacked a bit, if there's no one beside you when you do something like that again, I'll follow you to the Murray Park.
Under the bridge, jaywalking across the street.
Oh, yeah, we did a lot of jaywalking. Matt was very concerned.
I got a good record. I don't want to be sent to jail for jaywalking, so.
I would go with you guys to another show. That was a good time. And I'd go to another Twilight concert. If you haven't been to the Twilight Concert Series, it used to be free. It's definitely not free anymore. It went from free to $5 to the one we went to was $20. But that's still, at this point, a pretty good price for a concert because the ticket prices have gone way up.
They sure have. And it was outside, so we didn't have to stand in a crowded room watching them, which was nice.
Here's your fun fact for the episode. Got to throw a fun fact in there.
Oh, yeah. Tell us why they got their name.
When I was younger, I was told that there was this hot girl across the street that they started watching. She got hit by a cab and died. And without verifying that story, I told other people that like it was 100% truth. Never looked into it. And then years later, actually just a few years ago, like last year, my friend texted me and was like, dude, I believed this my whole life. This is not the truth. So it's actually a song. I can't remember the band name. It's a funny band name. But that song, they either like that band and that song, or that song also is in one of the Beatles movies. It's speculated that Ben Gibbard, who is the singer for Death Cab, loved that Beatles movie so much and named their band after that song. So
yeah, it's a song which was written by Neil Innes and Vivian Stanshall and recorded by their group, the Bonzo Dog Do Da Band.
Yep. What a name.
was performed by them in the Beatles film Magic Mystery Tour. So there you go, Matt. That's the connection to the Beatles.
That's all.
But
I
one
have.
thing I do love about, and I've seen Death Cab on Jimmy Kimmel and stuff like that in the past, is that the lead singer, you can tell he really feels the music when he plays, because he's just, his whole body's moving all the time, and he's just like dancing around, and which is cool. I like it when musicians, you can tell that they enjoy what they do and are into it. So they put on a good show. I think their music, I like their music. I like their style of music, but like we mentioned, I wasn't as entertained because I didn't recognize the songs. And I usually like to, before going to a concert, either get their CDs or their greatest hits albums or whatever and listen to all the B-side type stuff so that you're familiar with the filler song. But they didn't do it this time, so it wasn't as enjoyable, but they do have a good sound.
If you think about it, last week we had a sports episode. This week we have a music episode. We're pretty cultured people. This is a pretty cultured podcast. Either way, we appreciate you letting us talk about BYU and sports, talking about a niche indie rock band, and for letting us take you on our adventure and hear our stories of what we go and do.
And we do it for you. Everything we do it for you.
Nate says that and feels it really, really deeply, because he said that multiple times at the concert as he was listening to the songs he didn't recognize. It's for the podcast.
For the podcast. For the fans. Yeah.
Happy birthday, Matt.
It's your birthday today?
It's my birthday today. Yeah.
This whole time? You didn't say it? You wait till the end, Brandon?
We'll end on that. Happy birthday, Matt. Thanks for being on the show.
Hope you find your dad.
And thanks for listening to This Is Blake's podcast.
See you next week.
They both are satisfied and illuminate the nose on their vacancy signs. If there's no one beside you when your soul embarks, then I'll follow you into the dark. In Catholic school, as vicious as Rome.